We're back. They heard you loud and clear.
You are freelancers.
They heard you loud and clear.
You guys maybe have
Stadia?
They heard you loud and clear. They heard you loud and clear.
Activision Blizzard. It has suspended a gamer and taken his prize money away because he made comments supporting Hong Kong protesters.
They just didn't listen.
At the conclusion of last year's prestigious T.U.G.S Award ceremony, we hoped that we'd left you and the gaming industry with a little glimmer of hope, a pathway towards greatness, a Brady Games guide filled with clues on how to fix the world of video games. We saw in you, the humble gamer, a spark that was needed to ignite the flames inside all of us. As for the industry itself, at the end of 2018, it was shaken by one of the loudest protests towards microtransactions and bullshit paid exclusives we'd ever seen. Yet, Battlefront 2 still sold 9 million copies in its first few months.
Shameful.
And then they turned their microtransactions back on after the anger had subsided, thus proving that gamers still weren't putting money where their mouths are. And also, giving executives no good reason to change. If you won't change, why should they?
Was 2019 the year of change? Did gamers finally rise up, rinse up, and deny these cowards their bread? Well, you did better than last year. You are making progress. You are fucking these companies in new and exciting ways, and for that, we are proud. Did the industry, specifically the AAA studios, learn anything from their mistakes, alter the course, give fans what they want, and release games that were not only fully completed, fully functional upon release, but also games that weren't entirely riddled with the same microtransactions and paid exclusives that we've all been bitching about for the better part of a decade now? No!
Not only did these companies simply attempt to change the name of some of their more devious tactics in order to make them sound less evil by covertly describing them as surprise mechanics in federal court, they saw gamers fighting back, protesting their bad decisions, and still went on to release some of the most broken, bullshit, unfinished, predatory, greedy, and just plain terrible games of the past 10 years right at the goddamn finish line, hoping that their sins would be washed clean with a new decade that starts a fresh console cycle. Well, we haven't forgotten what you've done, and we're here to hold your feet to the flames.
The industry hit the ground stumbling in 2019 with massive layoffs from companies like Activision Blizzard, EA, and GameStop. Hell, even Machinima officially closed its doors for good. And for good. A little AAA called Anthem was released completely unfinished and broken so badly that it resulted in bricked consoles in some cases. Apex Legends successfully struck blows at the nearly untouchable Fortnite before falling flat for months because it seemed like they had no plans for its success. Activision fucked their relationship with Bungie so bad that they just left and made their game free to play. Ubisoft failed at creating a compelling sequel to one of their most promising franchises, The Division. Google, for some stupid reason, decided to shoot themselves directly in the face by announcing and then releasing a cloud gaming service that no one asked for, and they had the audacity to ask players to pay full retail price for games that are already heavily discounted on other platforms. Can I get an amen?
Amen! Gearbox somehow ruined Borderlands. Warner Brothers saw how microtransactions became an easy way to destroy your game's reputation and said, fuck it, we've got one last chance to scrape these kids' wallets before this becomes illegal. Let's ruin Mortal Kombat. Riot Games literally farted on their employees. Nintendo released multiple pay-to-win mobile games. 2K continued to exploit their consumers by releasing a completely broken wrestling game and added a literal casino to their NBA title. Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube decided to go to war with each other by spending millions to convince shitheels to use their service. Oh, sorry, we forgot about Facebook Gaming. So did everyone else.
Gaming was, once again, blamed for real-world violence to the point that retailers started censoring the video game section or just outright pulling games from their shelves. Cowards. Fortnite had a huge fucking data breach and risked the privacy of millions of booger-eating 12-year-olds. Excited to relive your days of Azeroth? Nerd. WoW's back. But too bad, because one of the richest companies in gaming couldn't relaunch a 15-year-old game with enough servers, which caused players to wait in queues that lasted upwards of 5 hours.
Idiots.
Idiot. Twitch showed actual pornography. They let streamers throw their animals, and they had people streaming in bathrooms. And Rockstar ruined Red Dead Redemption.
The once great Bethesda decided to take the worst game they'd ever produced and try to convince their most hardcore supporters to pay $100 a year for a membership which was so broken that it was literally unplayable, pointless, and turned the players who did pay for it into easy targets for class warfare. And if all that wasn't enough, this year showed everyone how ingrained a certain authoritarian government was in our favorite entertainment properties when Blizzard decided that Chinese money was just a little more important than integrity.
Cucks.
Oh, what a year it's been. And oh, how the future looks bleak.
Your average, boring, celebrity-filled, advertisement-based game awards show out there would have you think we all went skipping happily through a field of daisies.
Oh, la-dee-da.
Well, this ain't your average awards show,
No.
Jack. And we're not your average channel, Jack. This is T.U.G.S, baby.
Woo!
This ain't no bed of roses. This ain't no pleasure cruise. We consider this a challenge before all gaming culture, and we're not gonna lose, because we are the champions. And we're doing this for you.
Now, okay, let's cut all the bullshit here, and let's get this shit fest started. Now, okay, wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Here we go!
Hello, gamers. Did you just think because I'm a father with a real job that I'd miss out on this annual tradition? No, it's time to eat ass and smoke grass. I don't do that anymore, Ricky. I'm just gonna have to explain to my wife and kid why Daddy is slurring his words worse than usual and was forced to take an Uber home tonight or Lyft. And yes, I will be gifting you with my review of the entire year of gaming a little bit later. But for now, let's concentrate on these god-awful trailers. As you're all aware, trailers provide you with the first look at some highly anticipated titles and bullshit and allow you to quickly judge whether you're going to be spending your hard-earned dollars on them, throwing your ball at the screen, Fry style. Futurama. Some trailers build excitement for a game you either didn't know about or weren't really committed to. But then some trailers are so bad that games would be better off just not uploading them at all. Here are the nominees for Worst Trailer of the Year.
That's hot.
That's hot.
It was a close one this year, and up to this point, it was a dead heat between NBA 2K My Team trailer, which showed more gameplay from inside of a digital casino than it did on the court itself. And then there was the trailer from Marvel's Avenger A-Day, a game based off one of its most profitable entertainment franchises in history, but with a trailer that makes it look like it's coming from last gen's Soldier Boy's console. But just when we thought we'd seen the worst trailers that this year could offer. A new challenger tossed its hat into the ring. And it did so in one of the most embarrassing ways possible. As it was at the actual Video Game Awards were coming to a close, people were on the edge of their seats, knowing that before the curtains were lowered, they had been seeing a world's first of some new trailer that was super exciting and new. Something that would cap off this major event towards the end of the year and leaving everyone in the seats and on the screens with their jaws dropped to the floor. Could it be gameplay footage of Elder Scrolls 6? More detailed look at Halo Infinite? No, no. It had to be something even crazier than that. Sadly, what we got was a trailer for a game that no one really asked for. A game absolutely no one actually seems to be interested in. A game with graphics so terrible that everyone watching thought it was going to be released exclusively for mobile. Fast and Furious Crossroads. Wow.
Crossroads, Shivy. Crossroads.
Fast and Furious Crossroads.
Got it.
When you failed at making a car game look graphically appealing in this day and age, you've already failed. And this game looks like absolute shit. It's actually embarrassing that any company would release a trailer for a game that looks this bad instead of just releasing it at all with no fanfare and hoping that anyone, would mistakenly buy it because it's loosely tied to the movie series franchise. These graphics are unacceptable. They wouldn't even excite someone if it was shown like 10 years ago, and the character models, actors are like Haggard's character from PlayStation 1, Harry Potter. It makes that look futuristic by comparison. People were shocked by what was shown at the big trailer reveal at the end of the Game Awards, and that's for sure. But they were mostly shocked that the trailer for Fast and Furious Crossroads ended with logos for PS4, Xbox One, Steam, instead of logos for something more pathetic like Apple App Store, Google Play, SAP.
Gaming is for everyone. And nothing proves that point more than the existence of games based off of real sports. Sports games allow people who wouldn't otherwise be interested in gaming to live out their youthful fantasies of making it to the big leagues while they slave away in some middle management position during the week. And as we all know, it used to be next to impossible for developers and publishers to fuck up sports games because most of them are based off of things that have existed unchanged for decades. All you gotta do is update the roster, add new stadiums, alter the uniforms, and call it a day. But we'll be damned if these companies haven't screwed up that formula over the years too. This is mostly a result of predatory microtransactions, but recently it appears like they've just stopped caring at all because they know that most people will just buy whatever they put out because it's the latest version. They should be ashamed. And we're here to do the shaming. Here are your nominees for Worst Sports Game of 2019. Yes, there were a lot of terrible sports games this year, and they all deserve your hatred. But don't let all of those other titles in this category distract you from the fact that in 2019, 2K Games lost the development team behind their WWE franchise, tried to complete the game themselves, and watched as reviews plummeted 16 feet through an announcer's table. By God, this game was a slobber knocker. Well, in all the wrong ways. WWE 2K20 was an obviously rushed, unpolished turd of a game that 2K sharded into the face of wrestling fans everywhere in what we can only imagine was a desperate attempt to not face a lawsuit from the WWE themselves for breach of contract. The result of dropping such a mess onto the market might have actually made things worse for all parties involved because it was one of the most obvious displays of malfeasance by a game company this year, and that's saying a lot. It was so completely broken, ugly, glitchy, and mishandled that we are shocked that a class action lawsuit wasn't filed immediately. The only redeeming factor for this game's horrific existence was that everyone who hadn't purchased the game was treated to an endless supply of hilarious clips from people who had wasted their money. We joke about major games being broken or unfinished all the time, but it is rare that you get to feast your eyes on something this embarrassing. Bravo, 2K. You really showed the world how lazy and corrupt you actually are.
It's time for the esports report. It's not at all surprising that 2019 saw the continued rise of esports in the public consciousness. If the past couple of years were esports in its infancy, we're about to spend the next few years watching it go through puberty. Yeah. And this year might have seemed like esports balls started to drop. It's already out there ruining the bedsheets. Esports' hormones are through the roof as it's slowly accepted into the world of legitimacy. And boy, are the companies and people involved in this industry making some very public, very stupid mistakes that will keep them all up at night in the years to follow. Legal battles, personal battles, ego battles, financial battles, ethical battles. Hell, following this industry is a sport in and of itself, and it's fucking exhausting. Listen, we're not here to talk about bad calls, major upsets, terrible plays, or anything like that. Boring. We're here to judge esports and those involved as a whole, because that's a lot more fun. So here are your nominees for this year's worst esports moment. Wow, what a year. A major team being sold right out from under its true king, a streamer who can't even slice bread, leaving the platform that made him rich so he could get less views for more money, a doctor committing malpractice by filming people in a bathroom, and a company kowtowing to an oppressive regime being run by a knockoff version of Winnie the Pooh. There are a lot of terrible options here, but we're going to have to give the award for worst esports moment to the FaZe Clan for a few reasons. Now, FaZe Clan was truly the gift that kept on giving. First, they decided to go very public with a legal battle involving one of their former members, Tfue, which resulted in one of the best examples of schadenfreude we saw all year when FaZe Banks released a 20-minute-long video in which he was visibly shaken at the very idea that one of his business associates had violated the bro code, which we all know is one of the most important legal statutes in history. He was heartbroken, and you could tell because, as Banks put it, he basically made Tfue's career and was the mastermind behind some of the greatest thumbnails to ever grace this website. Fucked vibes. The video was historic. Getting to see the CEO of a major esports organization fight a legal battle via a whiny, self-important vlog is something from 2019 that we'll never forget, but hopefully we get to see a lot more of. Now, to a somewhat lesser extent, the FaZe Clan also suffered a crushing defeat when later in the year, one of their pro players, FaZe Jarvis, was handed down a lifetime ban from Fortnite after it was discovered that he was blatantly cheating at the game by utilizing an aimbot.
What a fucking idiot.
Not smart, but it's pretty FaZe. Now, this too resulted in another fantastic response video in which FaZe Jarvis literally started crying like a bitch because he couldn't play his favorite game and make millions of dollars doing it. You love to see it. FaZe Clan's year was topped off by yet another public argument that should have definitely stayed private when FaZe Banks' ex-girlfriend aired their dirty laundry on Twitter for everyone to see. Instead of taking things offline, FaZe Banks decided to post a lengthy response to his cheating allegations directly to his audience. Now, sadly, this response was uploaded in the form of a rambling, unformatted text screenshot and not a video, which would have been incredible. So to sum up the year for FaZe Clan and their constant public embarrassments, which we enjoyed thoroughly, we will let FaZe Banks himself have the last word, which describes our joy of watching all these fucked vibes unfold over the past 12 months quite perfectly. Take it away, FaZe Banks.
That's great shit, man. That was dope.
Things in the real world each... The alcohol's kicking in, boys. Let's go! Things in the real world each year keep getting worse. 2019 was no different. But we, the gamers, have one distinct advantage that no one else does. We can change our lives by adopting new ones in a wide variety of fantasy worlds. We can be who we want to be, live how we want to live, fight who we want to fight, and sometimes, fuck who we want to fuck. That's why role-playing games are not only one of the most popular genres in gaming, but also one of the most important. But when these false realities are just disappointing and depressing as real life, what's the point? There's no shortage of terrible games out there, but when you truly want to escape and become something you can never be in real life, these devs have a goddamn duty and responsibility to make the best experience possible. Sadly, their increasing failures have led us down a dark, deep path, one that's not filled with high-leveled beasts. At first, I thought you said breasts or big titty elves.
There it is.
There it is. Let's get it. But one that's filled with nothing but corporate greed. Disgusting. Here are your nominees for Worst RPG of the Year. Okay. There are some solid choices in there, but we have to give this year's award for Worst RPG of the Year to The Elder Scrolls Blades! All right, Blade, yeah. This game is yet another misstep from Bethesda as they trip and fall, finally down the mountain they once built for themselves and Skyrim'd up. Yeah, it's a mobile game, and as such, it results are predatory, microtransaction-filled mess where you're denied true power unless you're wealthy. IRL. Too much like, once again, real life. The title of this game, Blades, makes sense because it feels like Bethesda took a blade and sliced away most of everything that makes Elder Scrolls playable. Ouch. It's not open world. It's lacking meaningful content, compelling content, and there's pretty much no boss battles. It's really just nothing but repetitive slog that it's not even really a world that you once loved. It's fucking sad. The fact that they prioritize development time to something like this instead of fixing their other broken games is an affront to gamers everywhere. And the fact that this cash grab was released a few months after Fallout 76 proves once and for all that Bethesda only cares about one thing, gentlemen. Making all the money they can before the company inevitably dies. We're hopeful for Elder Scrolls 6. I'm not. Of course, but every move they made over the past few years has us increasingly worried they won't even be the company they were around when they release it. GG.
Well, let's be honest. The video game market is already overcrowded. There's only so much free time in the day for people to choose a game they want to potentially sink hours into. And for the companies behind them, there's also a limited amount of time to develop new and exciting games that make us all want to play them. That's what makes the games in our next category so offensive. Their very existence is baffling because this precious time could have been used to create the next great game, or at the very least, actually improve on something that people love. Cheap updates, re-released cash grabs, depressing sequels, and bad ideas fill out our nominees for the most pointless release of the year.
Goddamn nerds.
I'm a god.
We've got a hot one for you.
Now I'm a god.
Imagine being excited for any of those games in the year of our Lord 2019. I mean, come on. Now, all right, I have to admit, I did enjoy a bit of nostalgia from WoW Classic when I was actually able to play the fucking game after sitting in queues for hours on end. Shut up. But then Blizzard had to go and suck China's dick and force me to unsubscribe forever.
Gross.
Still, there's one game that tops our list for most pointless release of 2019. And that game is Far Cry New Dawn. Far Cry New Dawn is the perfect example of a game that could have and should have been a $10 DLC for Far Cry 5. It exists within the same universe, it's depressingly short and unimaginative, it adds almost nothing to the series as a whole, and despite all of this, was still priced nearly as high as a new AAA title.
Yeah, fuck Montana.
There you go, Montana. The only redeeming quality this game has is that, well, it's a Far Cry game. So if you like Far Cry, maybe you'll enjoy this title for a few hours before giving up and wishing that Ubisoft had focused their efforts on literally anything else. Okay, actually, maybe they shouldn't do that because despite crapping out this glorified DLC expansion, they were also responsible for Breakpoint, which was a close second in this category. So maybe they should just go fuck off instead.
When this airs, you're all probably playing the hardest game of all, spending time with your family over the holiday. You'll probably need to blow off a little bit of steam or escape from your relatives for a bit and load up a nice, simple, soothing video game. But don't count on an easy battle if you load up any of these torturous endeavors because you'll just end up throwing your controller through the goddamn wall. And then your mom's gonna be like, what was that?
Nothing, Mom, jerking off.
What about some porn?
You telling her you're jerking off, probably better call and saying, I'm playing games. She's gonna judge you less. Games are supposed to be challenging, yet fair. But these games throw caution to the wind and tell you to just fucking deal with it. Now, to be fair, none of these games really affect us because we are top-tier gamers who never run and hide when faced with a seemingly insurmountable challenge. But for you, the coddled Zoomers, maybe it's time to accept that you'll never have the patience and skills needed to complete these titles. Here are your nominees for This Game is Too Hard Award. Those are some brutal games that test both your time and patience. But there can only be one winner for this category, and that winner is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Listen, it's probably not the most difficult game on this list. That would be Untitled J.U.S game, where the real challenge is playing the game without posting about it on social media. Bap, 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 bap. But we're giving this year's award to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for one simple reason. The secondhand joy that we get from the assumption that statistically a bunch of Star Wars dorks bought it only to find out It's not just some brainless multiplayer shooter. It was an absolutely punishing Dark Souls-style game that requires much more skill than your average Dorito dust-covered, monster-drinking, Mad Catz controller-having, basement-living, sexless, joyless gamer dork will ever be capable of having. Yeah, that's you. Ooh. The gamers who complained about adding easy modes to games are the same people who will secretly turn down the difficulty on this one, just so they can make it to the end and finish vomiting up their 8-page diatribe about how this game somehow panders to minorities. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order takes finesse. And we're sorry to report, a lot of you just don't have it. And you're just not worthy of a game of this caliber.
We all know that you no longer need good graphics to have a good game. There are an endless supply of beautiful indie games out there with a certain aesthetic that appeal to a wide variety of gamers, like my mouth. But these games have been made with these choices on purpose, because they don't got fucking money. When billion-dollar game studios enter the ring, they bring huge AAA tentpole releases that are supposed to impress us. With not only competent gameplay, but these graphics. That should, at this point, start to blur the lines between fantasy and reality. But when a company that has billions of dollars at its disposal, and fails to evolve graphics in a meaningful way, they're hurting all of us, including the evolution of gaming in general. It's a crime. These nominees have spat all over the face of people who've bought them. If you paid $60 for a AAA title, you should be treated to a playable, cinematic experience that you can lose yourself in, not be presented with broken, ugly, half-baked bullshit. Here are your nominees for worst graphics in a AAA game. Question here, obviously the award goes to Pokemon Sword and Shield. Just kidding, that game actually is supposed to look like Baby's First Battle Royale because it's made for kiddies who just went duty in their diapers. I should know, my daughter is just learning how to talk, but is already a Pokemon master. I'm about to kick her out of the house. Put some respect on her name. The actual award goes to the most deserving game. The actual award goes to the most deserving game we've ever nominated in this goddamn category. WWE 2K20. Woohoo! When 2K lost the developer for this game, they should have done whatever to hire the best of the best replacement team, spare no expense, Jurassic Park style. Instead, this game was rushed out after it was taken over by an in-house team that no one fucking cares about. And the results go down in gamer history as a complete embarrassment on the already tarnished reputation of 2K. Weird physics, terrible character models, completely broken gameplay, complete chaos. This game looks like something that came out at the beginning of the decade, not at the end. But even like back in 2010, we had standards. The community would not have accepted such a broken game back then, and thank God they didn't this year either. I just hope you remember what 2K has done to you year after year next time you're tempted to throw money at any of their sports titles, especially wrestling.
One of the major changes over this past decade was the constantly increasing amount of DLC that was added to games that should have just been fully completed games in the first place. Hey, dipshits, Maybe you should just release a full fucking product instead of drip-feeding content to the debt-ridden mouth breeders over the course of months and years. It's almost like games are released as complete for decades before the industry figured out how easy it would be to chop games up into segments and make at least twice the money reselling small expansions, different modes, and exclusive maps. And don't even get me started on microtransactions, because my heart's already ready to explode. We're at the tail end of a decade where DLC has become the norm, thus changing the gaming landscape forever. So it only makes sense that the worst offenders would exist in 2019. Here are your nominees for Worst DLC of the Year. The audacity, the absolute fucking gall of Bethesda to debut a $100 a year membership for a game that has been broken since launch. A game whose player base has been in rapid decline for months. A game that promised actual expansions but didn't deliver. And one of the worst games of the decade. Fallout First for Fallout 76 wins this year's Worst DLC award, and rightfully so. Not only did they expect people playing a relatively dead game to fork over $100 to become a Fallout First member, this shit was so broken on launch that it actually did more harm than good. Unlimited storage? Sure. Once the game inadvertently deletes all of your scrap that you took countless hours collecting in the wasteland, you'll have plenty of room left over. Private servers? Hope you like leftover servers that have already been looted and all the enemies killed in already. As a bonus, your private servers were available to anyone on your friends list whether you wanted them to be in it or not. And to top it all off, if there wasn't one active Fallout First member online at any point in time, the server was unplayable for everyone that was on it. Well, at least you get to enjoy your penny's worth of in-game currency to buy trash cans or other trivial shit with. Hey, want to go back to public servers? Hey, good. Well, now you look like a tool bag because other players can see that you're an idiot who gave Bethesda a fat stack of bills. Get ready to get grief, bitch! Fallout First was one of, if not the, most atrocious, mind-numbing, ill-conceived, audaciously priced, broken on launch pieces of garbage that was released in the history of gaming. Do not pre-order Bethesda games ever again. They need to learn a lesson. And so far, it appears they haven't. Come on, Todd!
Bang, bang, it's your boy, Tornado92. No, I don't live in my mom's basement, and yes, I'm a threat all over mainland China. I might be born mobile, but I grew up in a gaming world filled with some of the best first and third person shooters ever created. Sadly, just like most of your parents, these types of games peaked 10 years ago, and they've been slowly becoming more depressing every year since. Even the once good games have had their reputations ruined by sequel after sequel after sequel, and along the way, someone poisoned that well. Every big shooter game from 2019 was absolute trash, and you only have yourself to blame. What happened? Well, the video gamer baby boom happened, which created the worst generation ever to walk the earth. Goomers. Goomers flooded the world. You're probably too young to remember, but when 9/11 happened, everyone started fucking so they could create little soldiers to go send overseas to catch Osama. But by the time they even got to puberty, this generation wasn't interested in fighting their parents' wars. They wanted to fight it out online in hardcore FPS and third-person shooters. But these Goomers... I can't say it. I can't fucking say it. But these Goomers wouldn't know a good game if it bit them on the ass. And the game quality dipped. Because these companies know you'll swipe your parents' credit card to buy whatever they put in front of your faces. Okay, Goomer, what are the nominees for Worst Shooter of 2019? Now, this is obviously one of the bigger awards. I mean, no, it's the same size, but you know what I mean, figuratively speaking. So we really had to sit down and think about this one for a while and weigh all the options about what makes one game worse than all the others for this specific category. After intense deliberation, we've decided that the worst shooter of the year award goes to Borderlands 3. Now, Borderlands 3 was ultimately the greatest offender because it should have been an easy win for Gearbox. First two games in this series are absolutely fantastic. Literally some of the best looter shooters of this entire decade, and they paved the way for similar games that have also gone on to become successful. That's why Borderlands 3 was so upsetting. How do you take such a good franchise and just completely drive it into the ground? Well, you don't evolve the game at all, and instead you rest on your laurels and create a completely uninspired sequel that is somehow worse than its predecessors, despite having all of the data and reviews of those games readily available to see what works and what doesn't. Borderlands 3 was, simply put, boring. More like Boring Lands 3. You can't even recommend this game to someone who is a fan of the original titles that came before it because it just doesn't work. It was a buggy mess, it lacked enjoyable characters, the jokes felt dated, and the story was mundane. Now sure, it was a Borderlands game, but it felt like a bunch of half-baked ideas that writers and designers gave up on halfway through. Or maybe it's because the company's CEO was embroiled in numerous weird scandals during development, and that caused people to wonder if they'd even have jobs or that the game would even be released while they were making it. Whatever it was, this thing sucks, and it's tainted the name of an otherwise fantastic franchise. Enjoy your award, Gearbox. You earned it.
Now they're almost done looking at the past year's mistakes. It's time to start looking forward to all the potential disappointments that kickstart the roaring 20s, baby. Woo! Let's go. The Great Depression is starting early this time, boys. Let's get it. There's a lot of bullshit on the list upcoming on the Games Year's list. And then in 2021, we start the new console cycle, which means we're going to get a bunch of pure trash from the industry as they try to be the first ones to bring new titles to these systems, because they know that people will just play whatever the newest games are, especially because there's limited options. But for now, we must look at just the next few months and anticipate which one of these titles will be a complete flop. We're good so far at predicting last year's winner, Diablo Immortal. I mean, literally a slam dunk. It was never even released. Let's see if we can nail it again. Here's your nominees for least anticipated game of 2020. The obvious winner here is, of course, Fast and Furious Crossroads. Round of applause. Already shit all over that game thanks to their award for worst trailer. But I'll add that this game is nothing more than a cheap marketing ploy that is being released specifically because the movie is coming out and they want to promote it to the richest demographic of all. Gamers. You can tell just by watching the trailer that there was no effort put into this awful title. It's probably one of the best examples out there to show off how little these companies think of you and me and these guys. The pitch meeting for this game almost certainly included the following quote: "Who the fuck cares if this game is shit? It's Fast and Furious. Everyone loves Fast and Furious. These stupid morons will buy it just because Vin Diesel and Tyrese are in it. Gamers love Vin Diesel and Tyrese. Shove the slop. Let's make some money."
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Unless you're watching this after Christmas, in which case, Happy New Year!
Mazel tov.
Yeah, there you go.
We finally get to put another terrible decade behind us and march forward into the future. A future that could still be bright. A future that will see yet another fresh console cycle, but a future that will also have exactly the same hardships that have existed for every year of our miserable existence. The only good thing about looking forward, especially at the dawn of a new decade, is the feeling of a fresh start before everything goes to shit. So let's just enjoy it while we can.
But before we let you wander off into the unknown, it's time to get to our final category this year before Shibby once again regales us with his long-winded, completely unintelligible, yet somehow inspiring look back at the year in gaming as a whole. And we, of course, followed in last year's tradition of giving all of the power back to the people, our supporters.
That's right.
This year, just like last year, we gave the people we love most, our Patreon supporters and YouTube members, the task of choosing who gets the award for Worst Game of the Year.
We're
That's
keeping
ethical.
money in politics. Your vote matters.
You earned it. And you didn't let us down with your choice last year, and I think you've made the right decision once again. Now, here are your nominees for Worst Game of the Year.
And the winner is Anthem. Anthem
give
is
it up.
it's officially the worst game of 2019.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Congratulations to EA and BioWare for creating a AAA game so terrible that it was an immediate flop, it resulted in massive layoffs, and it'll forever be a stain on their legacy. Anthem was an ambitious release, that's for sure, and the graphics, the flight, the shooting were all up to par. But those things alone do not make for a great gameplay experience. The quests were boring and repetitive, the rewards were minimal, there was very little customization, and the world was extremely small. The game was just incredibly short for something that released at full price. Oh, and lest we forget, it also completely bricked more than a few consoles.
True.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Broken. To top it all off, the people like me who actually did play through it
Suckers!
at least hoped that there would be some sort of significant roadmap for updates and expansions that would make it something worth playing after you'd sped through the initial game. But no. It was apparent almost immediately that there would be absolutely no support for this game in the coming weeks and months. And the gear or weapon unlocks that were available for replaying certain missions or events were completely fucking pointless.
It's true.
Especially if you've already beaten the game on the hardest difficulty with items that you'd gotten over the course of standard gameplay. It's no wonder that this game sits in the bargain bin at most stores and constantly goes on sale for 75 to 90% off on digital storefronts. And that's because this game should have always been priced at $15, considering how little you get.
Damn.
In a year filled with very public fuck-ups from the gaming industry, Anthem stood out as the worst of them all and ended up being just another predatory venture from EA. But at least they were able to just admit how bad it was by completely giving up on it.
Salute.
What a waste of time, money, and effort. And if shame existed in this industry, EA would be so filled with it that they'd probably just try to sell it back to you $5 at a time. Sadly, we're the only ones that hold their feet to the flames. We stand alone in this cold, wintry darkness.
Yeah.
We're the only ones brave enough to give them an award for being the worst. So fuck you, EA. Fuck you, Anthem. You truly were the worst of the year, maybe even the whole decade.
So
Can
bravo.
I get an amen?
Amen. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Running
guys
around the
did it.
house with a pickle in my mouth all day.
I'm going to start a fucking mega church for gamers.
The Goomers.
ChristianGoomers.com.
Find your potential Goomer mate. So bravo, EA. Yes, you are the best at being the worst. We'd like to thank all of our winners tonight, although I'm sure that none of them are thrilled to even been mentioned at all.
They're at home crying right now, all of them.
Someone make a vlog about
Especially Todd. I know I can smell his tears.
And Banks. But most of all, I'd like to take a moment before Shibby ruins everything and say thank you all again so much for a wonderful year on this channel. It's because of you that we get to do what we do. So please keep watching. We'd like to keep making funny videos till the end of time. Watch, like, subscribe, and if you can spare it, become a YouTube member or a Patreon supporter. If you can't, that's fine. We love having you as a viewer.
Look out for yourself first.
Yes.
And then look out for us second.
I mean, having said that, you all know how much YouTube revenue fucks us. It doesn't exist, really. And without our supporters, this channel wouldn't exist.
So thanks. He's not joking. Your contributions to this channel have kept it afloat all year long. Making another Tuggy Awards was the least that we could do to say thank you guys to everyone who's gone to Patreon to become a supporter or click the join button here on YouTube. And your viewership helps us get all these non-YouTube sponsors that you hear about on our show. So whether you bought a toothbrush, a ball shaver, a meal kit, a big freezer full of meat, any of that shit, thank you for that as well. Just thanks in general. As long as you keep watching, we'll be here for you.
I bought some merch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that helps too. Thank you very much. Okay, well, enough of the mushy stuff. It's time to get this long-necked giraffe-looking motherfucker off of his leash so that he can review the entire year. I reserve my time, and the floor recognizes the giraffe from Glendale for all the time he needs to present his case against gaming in 2019. I almost ran out of breath there. I'm gonna go get drunk. Take it away, Shibs. It's all up to you.
Tugs boys and Tugs girls, you asked, and I ateth. Actually, it was Ricky's ass, and I mean, he asked. The longest neck in the West returned to close out the decade with a Tuggy. Look, viewer, I thought the show was dead too, like Rooster Teeth deleting Machinima or canceling Cow Chop. Trust me, I know. I'm still upset about at least one of those. Like Bruce or Lawrence needing to do him instead of doing it for the corporation. Like Internet Today out here busting their nut to bring you the best news on YouTube. Of course, I picked up Ricky's phone call and support and said, sure, let's get tossed like a Lindy's cat and have a heated video game moment for the boys. Did I have to ask my wife for approval? Of course. That's how life is with a 15-month-old daughter, causing parenthood sleep woes between working full-time by day, slaying them Call of Duty noobs by night. Does my daughter know her father is a drunken giraffe G-Fuel out of his mind? Of course not. That content on ETC and Party Time got deleted like an email server. Enough of that, though. I'll say it. I know your viewers are waiting for it. As of 2019, this has been the worst century in gaming. But Shibby. Woo! Clearly you mean decade, you lanky, long-faced buffoon. Ooh. Much like our impeached leader. Wrong. If that was the case, viewer, let's take a step back to 2019. To
2009, you fucking idiot.
To 2009 for a quick decade in review. We'd be playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Minecraft, League of Legends, Halo 3, Grand Theft Auto 4 DLC. Well, shit. Come to think of it, this all seems awfully familiar. It's now 2019, soon to be 2020, and we're playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Minecraft, League of Legends, the Halo Collection, and Grand Theft Auto 5. Case in point, up to 2019 has been the worst century in video games. It's true. World War I had better graphics, there was no Fortnite, and Star Citizen only had a few $1 million in Kickstarter money. Times be a-changing. Damn Zoomers are ruining inside gaming.
Goomers.
Well, that and China. Honestly, it's impressive the waves caused by Hearthstone's lovely Blitzchung. What would have probably been a brief post on livestream fails, this broadcast ended up being a complete shitstorm because of how poorly Blizzard handled it. All the while, mysteriously in the background, Tencent with their 5% stake in Activision Blizzard controlling the keys to the Great Wall of China's gaming market. Blizzard's president publicly stated this had no influence on the decision. The whole situation smells sus, like a freshly bideted butt. That was on some shit. but do you care? If you would have asked me who fucked up in gaming to get both chambers of Congress to issue an official document, of course I would have said Sean Murray. He should be criminal. Woo! We did it. He's finally been in prison for his crimes against No Man's Sky. Oh, wait, what? Everyone likes that game now and it's been consistently updated at no additional cost plus VR support? No scummy microtransaction bullshit? Well, all right. Well, it looks like they put those initial sales dollars to work finishing promises on that game. Bravo. Fucking well done, Sean. I apologize. I'll tell you one game that isn't making a comeback. Anthem. Fallen Order and Apex Legends are EA's saving grace this year, but damn. Anthem is a complete failure. Having personally played the open demo in earlier February, this was the perfect example of a game that shows well in your marketing materials, but once you get your mouth around it, is simply boring, pointless, and tasteless. Like the Red Dead Redemption 2 PC release. Whew.
Savage.
Other than 2 games just mentioned, Ghost Recon Breakpoint must be near the top of my personal worst game of the year. At least Anthem was a new IP attempt. Breakpoint has failed the Tom Clancy name. I applaud Ubisoft by outdoing EA's surprise and delight loot box mechanics by introducing something called Time Savers, purchased by in-game currency using Ghost coins.
Goist coins.
Yeah.
Goomer coins.
That's good. These coins, of course, being purchased with cold card cash.
Cold card cash.
Like your mom's Apple credit card. On release, one could buy character progression improvements like skill points, crafting materials, XP bonuses, and cosmetics. Cosmetics I honestly don't have an issue with, but anytime real tangible character progression in a game, especially when a game has competitive PvP is offered to purchase, do not buy.
Read the damn shirt.
Read it. Why actually play the game, to work your way to those new weapon attachments when you can just swipe, and have it now? Mechanics like this time saver bullshit make games more shitty. And I want you to say no to shitty games. Drugs. Shitty games. Get these pay-to-win mobile game mechanics out of my AAA $60 video games. It's awful. I need a drink.
Take your time now.
Not only is this game a massive failure, it under-delivered for Ubisoft so hard that Watch Dogs Legions, Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine got pushed further back into 2020. Look, any game developers out there that need my ethical game consulting service, let me know. Next time you try to add time saver bullshit or pointless in-game survival mechanics like Breakpoint did, I can easily tell you DayZ, Scum, Arma 3, or Escape from Tarkov do it better. Just don't. I'll tell you about another just don't. Planetside Arena, shutting down after launching in September. No, not of 2018, but September 2019, roughly 4 months ago. When your game has ambitious goals such as 250 versus 250 player deathmatch, you need to have more than just 20 players playing the last 24 hours, like the game at all. While we don't necessarily celebrate gaming failures here on the Tuggies, I do want to pour one out for all the development hours and resources pulled away from a beloved game, Planetside 2 community, in order to get this Planetside Arena game out the door.
Planetside?
Yeah. Thankfully, reports say players will get refunds, unlike my Radical Heights Founders Pack that I wasted $15 on. Thanks, Cliffy B. Motherfucker. If the reason Team Fortress 2 died was for some spin-off bullshit, and that's why my primary game is being neglected, I would be pissed off. Wait, what the fuck, Valve? You want to know something you're not getting a refund for? Google Stadia. Other than how awful Google Plus was, forced down everyone's throat on YouTube during whenever that time was, I typically don't really have qualms with Google product.
This is Bob. He has an army.
However, Stadia should really be in early access beta.
Keep going.
What would I say?
Nothing. Keep going.
All right. Being an elite PC gamer, any refresh rate, screen ghosting, connection lag, whether peer-to-peer or dedicated input lag from my mouse, whether it moves on screen and how actions are taken, blah, blah, blah. Technical or bandwidth issues are just a no-go for me. Home internet provider or cellular provider may have data caps per month. I did with AT&T. I mean, not anymore, but I did. The one-time $130 purchase price plus $10 a month for the Pro subscription, and you still need to buy the games to live on their fucking service at retail price? Oh, what? And the piece of plastic that snaps onto your Stadia controller to hold your phone when you're playing like an idiot, that costs you $15. I am sure eventually it will grow to be something great. But currently it's embarrassing. I heard paid players are actually embarrassed to use their free fen passes on fellow gamers. This should have stayed free in beta until it was overcooked. Look, I'm not asking the world here, but for a new player in the gaming space like Google, why not actually launch this product when it was mind-blowing? Full feature sets are ready, and actually really wow people. Make me say, no, you're breathtaking, like the Internet Today viewers. Currently, that's a tough sell when competing with other services like Project xCloud from Microsoft, which has multiple console generations of experience plus pass. The former is from leather sofa chairs and long gaming sessions in summer break. You guys know. Also a tough sell like Microsoft's Mixer, unless you're a ninja who got an 8-figure deal to exclusively stream there, or Shroud, who most likely got in the 7-figure range, followed by Courage exclusively on YouTube, and then Lyric, Lupo, and Tim continuing to be exclusively on Twitch. Chase and secure the bag, boys. Forget Star Wars. I'm about the streamer wars. Rise of the payday. Nice. I could stand here fully erect neck to lambast Death Stranding for being a video game, actually an overhyped video game, that you're a fucking package delivery man. Stomp my feet because of the cowardice of Valve making Half-Life 3 a VR title. Frustrated beyond measure because E3 2019 was the worst gaming convention in a decade. Or how Machinima was deleted, losing my job of 7 years because the company was shut down by a media merger titan, etc. What I'm actually mad about is the decision making behind one of the most hated, worst reviewed AAA games of 2018. A game that I literally put 200 hours into because I was actually having fun. A game I defended on camera, on stream, on Twitter, putting my Times Magazine most ethical man in gaming on the line. And guess what? A man half my size is now taking a shit on my gaming chair. Any guesses in the comments? If you're typing, Shibby is a cuck, or Follow76, congratulations, come on down. Thank you, Todd Howard, for making a game I actually truly enjoyed for all the derpy shit one could do into a literal monetization wasteland with the Fallout First premium membership, $13 a month or $100 a year. A game already battling an uphill battle against a shit show of negative press and word of mouth that smells like ass. Fallout 76 needed a lot of work, but over 2019, this game became so much worse in the AAA gaming space that with all things considered, this game could actually win Worst Game of the Year 2 years in a row. Instead of going to work and making your game better, No Man's Sky in this shit, the fat cats upstairs with the cigars, monocles, fancy top hats, wanted to suck even more atomic shop cash purchases to line their silver pockets. Yeah. Keep going. I'm trying, man. You wrote this. It's a lot. It's 5 pages in Word. Before releasing in November 2018, Bethesda promised, they fucking promised, that the Atomic Shop would only be cosmetic items. Well, in the last year, that has clearly been a goddamn lie. In April, introducing pay-to-win repair kits. July, pay-to-win scrap kits. In September, pay-to-win refrigerators and a pay-to-win scrap collector robot. All bring a powerful in-game utility through the in-game cash store. That's not it. It gets worse. In October, with the Fallout First premium membership, unlimited scrap storage, a survival tent with numerous in-game utility benefits, And most interesting, let's be real. You are paying for private server access. No more connecting to a world of players. Public world players, yeah. Yeah, those players, the undesirables, those poor players who only bought the game. A private server that you can live on exclusively away from those poor people who haven't swiped for the premium membership. You own your own private island, if you will. Wow. A Fallout game, you literally need to purchase full price and pay a premium monthly fee to play alone in your own world, if you want. Sure, you can invite a handful of friends, but that private server shuts down if the people log off and no one on the server has that Fallout First membership. The 2019 monetization of this game is a critical failure for the Fallout name, tainting the franchise, and now going forward puts a magnifying glass on all future releases for years to come. I mean, if not generations to come. Games like Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, games that would have been instant buys on name recognition alone, need a serious second guess, and big, like big dick toilet big. Wait on reviews before purchasing any of these products because of the scummy monetization added in 76. It's like squeezing blood from a rock or impeachment votes from the Senate, whatever example you want. The remaining player base, whomever's left, like, they deserve better. A release like Doom Eternal, while technically under the Bethesda banner, is developed by id Software. So no major beef from me on that one, but Bethesda Game Studios proper, as well as anything that's trying to be a games as a service, has been ruined. Gaslight me. 2019 has been quite the year in gaming. Clearly, and ethically covered by this sermon. It's unfortunate, but let's celebrate we have survived the worst century in gaming. I would not have it any other way than hanging out with you, the viewers, whom I miss. I do. The fan art, draft memes, GIFs, the comments below when someone says, Shibby eats ass, warms my heart and my loins. So to that, let's raise a toast to Internet Today, to the Tuggies, and to the most ethical video games journalism on YouTube, even if it's only once per year. Let us set our eyes onto 2020. When Xbox Series X.
Xbox 6.
It's fucking hard to say, as you can tell. Xbox Series X is secretly just a computer from Microsoft. And console players come home to greener pastures, higher frame rates, lower temps, more mods, more options, more choice, better sales, and not paying online for game access like a fucking idiot. Cheers, boys.
Well, there's truly no closed captioning available for that. I gotta say, I didn't understand a goddamn word of it, but it sounded good.
To the hearing impaired in our audience, you didn't really miss much.
And to the blind, you're just as confused as we, the seeing people, are.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for a great year. We are very, very humbled that you have followed us on this journey. Please continue to watch, subscribe, like, do everything you can, and we will bring back the Nostalgia Raft once a year, every year.
If you guys don't request a show, I don't get invited, so it's, yeah.
If we don't leave now, I'm going to piss my pants. Elliot, any words to leave them by?
The final award goes to you, the loyal viewer. Congratulations.
You've won.
You've won.
You guys did it.
Bye.
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 Merry Christmas.
Hit the bell.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Merry Hanukkah.
2020, baby.
Worst century in gaming.
A tip-top tap.
Have a good one.